Hi, I'm Megs from James and Megs, and welcome to this week's vlog. So Mother's Day has just come and gone in the UK, and all up and down the country people are thanking their mums for being the perfect 1 in a million parent, which is really sweet, but it does put a lot of pressure on us at the same time. I know for me, since having Eloise, I've certainly felt a lot more pressure to try and be the perfect mum. But what exactly is the perfect mum? So today I want to talk about the different pressures that I have felt about my parenting since becoming a mum, as well as where those different pressures have come from and how I try and overcome them on a day-to-day basis. First up is a pretty big one for me, and this one happened basically straight after I had Eloise, and that is looking perfect. Thanks to magazine covers and big flashing internet headlines, we are always hearing about how big famous celebrities left, right and centre have lost all their baby weight and become super toned up in just a space of a few months or even weeks sometimes, and now they look just as super glamorous as they did before they were pregnant. The secret is really tight Spanx. Now realistically, I know it's a big challenge to get yourself looking the way you did before you were pregnant, and it can take such a long time, and sometimes you might not even get that figure or that appearance that you had back. But thanks to the pressures in society, I feel like I struggle to like the way I look now I've had a baby. I know that when I look in the mirror, all I see is my C-section scar and this, what I call a mum pouch, that I know is going to be overhanging on my belly for a long, long time, if not forever. And it's really hard because really that's not the way it's supposed to be. In reality, the only person's opinion that actually matters is Eloise's, and I don't think she actually sees the things that I do. She doesn't see someone that has a C-section scar or someone who thinks they have a flabby belly or big bags under their eyes. She sees someone that provides her with love, warmth, happiness and safety. That's all that really matters, and I keep trying to remind myself of that every day. The next thing that really puts us mums under pressure is the need to keep our house tidy and spick and span all the time. To give me credit, I did actually take up a lot more housework after Eloise was born. I try my best to keep the house nice and tidy so that Eloise can be eating, playing, pooping and sleeping in a safe environment. But in reality, doing that all the time is not as easy as it's cracked up to be. When I'm in charge of looking after her, I can't exactly leave her alone in the room to go do some hoovering. And when I put her down for a nap, can I actually get some housework done without waking her up? And even if I can get some done, it's not likely I'm going to finish everything that I need to do before she wakes up. In this case, time is really against me, and before I know it, Eloise has gone and picked up some clumps of dog hair that have just gathered in the hallway all of a sudden. I suppose the idea of keeping the house tidy also really fits in with the idea of being the perfect 1950s housewife, as does my next talking point. That is the expectation that baby will have a fresh, home-cooked meal every single day that is perfectly balanced in nutrition and flavour. And by the way, that includes making sure that Eloise has her multivitamins every day. Now these sorts of things are recommended by public health bodies such as the NHS, but in reality you never know how your baby's going to react to food, and you don't know how much time you're going to have for that home cooking. Now I'm very lucky that Eloise likes her fruit and vegetables, and I'm also very lucky in that I have had the time recently to make fresh home cooked meals, and I'm quite proud of that. But that doesn't mean all babies are gonna like home cooked fresh food. They might not all like fruit and vegetables. And it doesn't mean I don't give Eloise processed food every now and again. There are some days she is teething so badly, the only way to calm her down is to give her a chocolate biscotti. Then there's the multivitamins. Is it easy to put the multivitamins in Eloise's food? I'd say so, yeah. But is it then easy to get her to eat all of that food? That's another story. I think when it comes to babies and food, as mums, we just have to try our absolute best and just keep our fingers crossed that baby has a good appetite. Making home cooked food also takes up time, which I'll have a lot less of when I go back to work. And that leads on to my next pressure, which is the idea that as a mum, I can work full time and look after and give full attention to my baby at the same time. Literally at the same time. Now don't get me wrong, there are some mums out there that can do this, and if you can, you know, good on you, good for you. But I've tried this a couple of times myself, and each time I've tried it, it's ended with either me or Eloise in tears. Although usually it's both. In reality, I know I haven't been able to work and give my full attention to Eloise at the same time, let alone then go do all the cooking and cleaning I've already talked about. At the end of the day, that then leaves me feeling really physically and mentally exhausted. And anyone who's a parent knows that kids don't really give you a break. Do I know how I'm going to work around this once my maternity leave ends? Honestly, no, and it does scare me a little bit. It's just something I'm going to have to figure out in time. And in the meantime, I'll just have to make sure I carve out some me time. Now, I think if I don't do those things, it will really play with my emotions. And I think there's a lot of pressure on mums to have the perfect balance of emotions. By that, I mean, I think there's this great expectation for mums to be really happy and cheery about doing baby duties all the time, knowing instantly how to fix their child's crying every single time, and never being frustrated with baby. This is fine. Maybe you've seen pictures on the internet of mums and their babies where the mum has a big smile, or maybe you've even seen heavily produced TV adverts showcasing mums feeding and changing a calm and content baby, whilst mum has this massive grin on her face. To those internet posters and TV producers, I say this. Have you ever actually looked after a baby before? You do know they cry a lot, right? You do know babies can often refuse food, throw it over their shoulder, or look right at you in the eye as they deliberately drop your lovingly homemade food on the floor. You do know babies can wriggle and scream and cry on changing mats, and that's not when they're trying to splash you with a fountain of wee. This is fine. Do you know how difficult it is to figure out exactly what's wrong with your baby when you've tried all the basic things to calm them down again and again and again for several hours? In fact, now I've said all of that, I feel like I should be reporting you for violating the Trade Descriptions Act. In all seriousness, all of these things have happened to me, and it is really difficult to keep your emotions in check in these situations. Then once baby is finally settled and asleep, you then go and do the cooking and cleaning you want to do, and then the second you sit down to do something for yourself, baby then starts crying again for some unknown reason, and you have to do this cycle all over again. Kid you not, this has happened to me every single day this past week. Sometimes to help me cope in these situations, I will say something really silly out loud to Eloise when she's playing up or I'm getting quite frustrated, you know, as a bit of catharsis. In the worst case scenarios, when that emotion is just too heightened for me, I will just walk out of the room, walk away from the situation. It can make me feel really rubbish, but I really think it is a better option than ending up to raising my voice or shouting at Eloise. The final thing that I think mums are really put under pressure for is regarding their baby's developmental progress. Sometimes it's due to hearing about what other babies have done at that age, and sometimes it is just due to reading too much on the internet. But there is this massive pressure to always be doing something with baby to make sure that they are reaching those developmental milestones. And there's also that pressure to make sure they get it right on the first go. Now, sometimes that pressure can come from your peers, but it can also come from things like health questionnaires. For example, my healthcare provider recently gave me a copy of the Ages and Stages questionnaire in preparation for a catch-up. It's only a catch-up, but my word, it made me feel like I was under so much pressure. It asked me all sorts of questions such as, can your baby say mummy and daddy consistently? Can they come to you on command without being gestured? Can they point at an object and bring it towards you if you ask them where it is? Now, Eloise can't actually do any of these things yet. And when I first got that questionnaire, I tried so hard to train her on those things she couldn't do. But she's only 10 months old, and the questionnaire is aimed for babies around 8 to 12 months. So maybe I'm putting pressure on both of us because I feel pressure from the questionnaire. Plus, I forgot there are so many things on that list she can actually do. She can almost walk, she can pick up really fine bits of food, and she can turn pages of books on her own. I forgot in that moment that different babies develop at all sorts of different rates, and that's okay. Plus, Eloise has these really amazing quirks that I think can't be picked up by a questionnaire. You know, she loves her science books, and in her book on science words, she deliberately turns to the pages on medicine and astronomy, which I think is so amazing. I try to remind myself every day of the things that she can do, as opposed to the things that she is yet to be able to do. Plus, and don't tell the mum shamers, but I might occasionally let her watch a little bit of TV. Believe me, it is okay to do that if your kid really needs to calm down or you really need that quick break. So those are the big pressures that I think we as mums face in today's society. But what do we do about them? First, don't listen to the voices in your head telling you the exact ingredients you need to be the perfect mum. All babies and mums will need different recipes to make that parent-child relationship as good as it can possibly be. Also, make sure you carve out some me time for yourself. That way you get a chance to rest and recuperate, and you might feel a bit happier on a day-to-day basis. Finally, keep reminding yourself every day that you are doing the best you can, and that is good enough. Remember, the perfect mum myth is just that, a myth. So thank you so much for watching today. If you like what you saw, please like the video, leave a comment down below, and subscribe to the channel so you can see more of our everyday goings on. Otherwise, we'll see you in the next video.